Hi, welcome or welcome back. So let us talk about the books that I read in the month of February. So there were five in total, and the first book that I read was Between Sisters by Kristen Hanna. And seriously, I thought it was a book that was published not very recently, so I thought it might lack the Kristen Hanna force, power, and impact, but that wasn't the case. I enjoyed the book, and it had all the trademark things that Kristen Hanna rights. So, Between Sisters is about these two sisters who don't really talk to one another, and even if they do, it's just for the sake of their relationship because they're sisters and they're half sisters basically. But deep down, they both want to renew their relationship. They want to have the sisterly bond which they had when they were young, and it's the story about that. And of course, with a twinge of tragedy in between. Do I need to say even more about Kristen Hanna's writing style? No, I know. The story is of a kind that was in trend during the early 2000s. I still enjoyed it. The other book that I read was The Crown of Gilded Bones by Jennifer L. Armentrout. It is the third book in the From Blood and Ash series. I picked this book up because I thought let us complete some of the series that I've started. And it was the third book, and I thought it was the last book, but it isn't. If you have read this book, you might relate to me. I had a hard time differentiating between who was a god and who was a deity, and it's just so confusing. And this book and also the other books in the series, for the most part, are about these two characters, Poppy and Castiel, and their relationship. And just when the author thinks that things are getting a little too repetitive, let us add a little twist. And with that twist comes a lot of info dumping and some new aspect being revealed about this fantasy world. And I just think that can't be done all the time. Gave it about 2.5 stars. It was okayish. Another book that I read was The Honeymooners by Christina Lauren. It is a romance book. It follows the fake dating trope. Okay, so the storyline begins with our female protagonist's sister and our male protagonist's brother getting married, aren't able to go to their honeymoon, which, by the way, is non refundable. So, our main characters decide why not take the advantage and have a fun trip. And that is how the story begins. Things change, they develop feelings, and like usual romance storyline. So, yeah, it was good. I kind of didn't enjoy it so much. I don't know why. It was like a mediocre book. It was 3 stars for me. Another book that I read was the famous classic, The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. And if you've been watching some of my previous videos, I did buddy read it with two another fellow booktubers, Kaden and Angela, and I had a great time. Not reading the book, but having the discussion about the book. So this book basically follows Dorian Gray. Is a young, beautiful man who is having his portrait painted, and when the portrait is completed, he looks at it and he's jealous of his own portrait. And in this bout of jealousy, he wishes for the portrait to age instead of him. And God must be hearing at that moment because that wish comes true. And throughout the years that we follow him, he doesn't seem to age. And instead, whatever sins or whatever corrupt activities he commits, its effect is shown in the portrait. And yeah, that was the premise. Honestly, love the first part of the book because it set the ground really well for the book to take from that moment. What I didn't like about the book was it was too philosophical for me. I can't digest that much philosophy, nor can I comprehend it that much. Couldn't comprehend the subtext unless I had the discussion with the people I was reading it with. So yeah, it makes a lot of difference if you aren't able to comprehend the philosophical stuff that's written in the book. And this book had it a lot, and I couldn't like get through most of it. I was zoning out in between. So yeah, it didn't work out for me, but it's not for everyone. It's just because I don't like too much philosophy in a book. I can't take it. So yeah, that was my reason for not liking it. And I initially gave it 2 stars, but after the discussion and knowing the some of the symbolism and hidden meanings, I kind of upgraded it, and maybe I'll say 3 stars. What I read next was My Mother's Eyes, which is a short story which was very kindly sent to me by the author himself. Jeremy Ray, and it was my first time reading an arc, and I was excited, and I had to review the story. But what I found really difficult was I had never read a short story, and nor had I reviewed it before. So I was kind of skeptical because the parameters of judging the book don't remain the same when you're reading a novel and then when you're reading a short story. The book is about a boy named Jody whose mother is in coma, and in an attempt to not let his mother's image and memory fade away, he draws her. But the only difficulty he comes across is he's unable to get her eyes correct, and that is what his struggle is about in this book. This story obviously talks about grief and what is the perfect time to let it go unless it consumes you, and it has a very good mother son relationship which I could relate. If I had to rate it, it would be a 3 out of 5 stars. Last book that I read in February was In My Dreams I Hold a Knife by Ashley Winstead. It is a mystery, and it was quite good. Yeah. Book is written in dual timelines. So we follow a group of friends during their college years, and then 10 years after that, maybe, yeah, 10 years for their reunion. In the last year of their college, one of the friend gets murdered, and the person who's found guilty is also a friend from that group. 10 years after that incident, all of these friends meet for the first time again, and past memories come into present, some secrets are revealed, and the real culprit is found. And the whole trajectory that this book took was really good. At no moment I felt this is going downhill for me. It was really well done. I gave it a 4 out of 5 stars. This gave me a lot of One of Us is Lying vibes, but just make it adult and with a little more twists and turns, and some of them really unexpected ones. So yeah, it was a good read for me. I ended the month with a good book, and hope that's the same for next month as well. So yes, that was all for this video. Thank you for watching, and do tell me if you have read any of these books and how did you like them. Till then, bye. Do consider to subscribe to my channel if you like it, and meet you next time.